I'm back. Video number 3, the last and final part of our series explaining how to do this Albers square painting project, the homage to a square. All right, I've got this thing done. I'm going to show it to you. This is now, remember, the first one we make is going to be more planned, more controlled, more decided upon ahead. And the second one, we're going to try to turn some of those rules and guidelines upside down. So I'll show you what I've got in mind. One thing you need to know is you do not need to do the same thing I did. And I don't just mean by color. I mean, what I decided in the painting of this one, you can see it's still a little wet, about what I wanted to do for my unplanned project was based on my experiences making this one. And so when you're making this more planned one, it's going to come to you what you want to do for your second one. Okay. So there we go. That is it. Now it's wet and you can see there's shiny places on it, and that's okay. It'll look a little better when it's dry, but there are inconsistencies in the gouache there. I could come back and put another coat of this kind of color over there, and that would get rid of that. Or I could say, I don't mind that. You know, this is a hand-painted item. If we wanted it to look like a computer had made it, we would just use the computer. So I expect it to look hand-painted. I want it to look hand-painted. I started to freehand some of these outer lines instead of using the tape. And what I found from that was that it's, you know, if you have a fairly steady hand or you don't mind trying to have a steady hand, you can get pretty far with that. What I also want to caution you about, I have some places, unfortunately, where there's a little more pencil line than I would like, and I will try to get this close enough. Whoa, so that you can see it. I don't know if you can. Don't worry if you can't. It's not that important. What is important is that pencil line may show through, and that's just as it is. If you want to try to fix that, try to paint over it, right, with a tinier brush, the smaller brush. The thing that won't look good, it's fine when there's a little warble in your line. That's fine because it's a hand-painted object. What isn't so good is if white paper shows through. Like, that's the one place that to me really is the biggest issue. The most glaring mistake is that there's a little bit of white paper coming through at that little dip between this sort of lilac color and the next yellow out. Okay. You may not be able to see that, but what I'm trying to tell you that, the reason I want to tell you that is that it's better to have the lines a little less straight than it is to have white showing between, right? One thing is more annoying, and it's the white showing through. Okay, let's set that aside. So that was the kind of planned, controlled version. Now what? Well, when I was working on that one, I had a couple of ideas. I thought, oh, wait, you know, this one band is almost exactly an inch wide. So like I could just use brushes that were the size of the spaces I want to sort of be my guideline instead of all those annoying pencil lines, right? So that was one thing I thought, yeah, I'm going to use another method. I'm not going to get so bogged down or spend so much time drawing these pencil lines, but I do want one pencil line on here, and that is the outside square. I just want that. So I really don't know what I'm doing right now. I haven't planned this out very well. I'm just going to see, and I'm going to get myself this 8-inch square, right? Because I want that. All right. And I'm going to use yellow pencil this time. I'm going to use maybe yellow again. I'm not sure. I was going to try to like kind of veer off the color scheme too, right? Oh, will you look at what I did? It's too high. Well, that's easy. Do you know what was going to happen there? Did you see that? I started this up here because I wanted space below, because that tells people which way is the right side up, for one thing. It also looks better. But what I did was I started this too high, and there isn't enough room for 8 inches to stick there. Now, see, that's what happens when you don't have a plan. You're going to have more boo-boos. So I just turned it over and said, all right, fine, start over. Put it over here. That's okay. Other thing I could have done was just move the line down and start over that way too. That would have been all right. Okay. I'm going to try to work quickly because I don't want you to have to just watch. I want you to paint, right? I don't want you to just watch this. But to do these kind of things well, for me, takes me a long time. So I'll try not to have it take a long time right now, and we'll just live with a certain amount of kind of sloppiness, basically, is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about getting it done quick and dirty, as they said. Okay, all right, so there's that one line. I want this one to connect, and one thing I want it to be is parallel with the outside edge no matter what, even more than I care whether it's exactly 8, right? So, see, and even just lining this up, I'm taking more time than I mean to. I apologize. Okay. If I was doing this like the cooking shows, right, I'd have one already done, and I'd just pull that out of the oven even while we were talking about how many minutes to put the one I just mixed up in to the oven for, right? Does that make sense? Maybe not. That's not very good. Don't worry about that. One thing about the colored pencil, of course, is it doesn't erase very well. So now I'm going to have that little, oh, you can't even see it, I bet. I can see it. And let me tell you, it's not that good. I have a little line a little longer than I wanted it to, and it's going to show right there. Okay. All right. So what I said I wanted to do was kind of work with the size of the brushes and just kind of work more intuitively on it. But I don't want exactly the same colors, but I know I'm going to need a lot of white, so I'm going to put some more white out. And I don't know if I'm going to finish this one. And I know that when you're working on it yourself, you're not going to go quite as crazy fast as I'm going right now. I mean, I will hope that you take a little more time, because I think it'll just be more enjoyable than just slapping it together in this way that I'm going to try to do this time. I also have a 1/2-inch brush someplace right here. So I'm kind of set. I have a 1-inch brush, which is going to be my outside circle. And what color, though? I mean, square, one outside square. I don't know. See, that's the thing. But like I said, I'm just going to start because I'm trying to do this differently than the last one. So let's say we make the outside, and again, a pale, pale, pale color, but not so yellow. Let's make it a little bit green. A little bit green. Well, that's a lot green, isn't it? And I see it's very minty. Can you guys see how, I'm practically off the screen. It's a very minty color. I don't really like it that much. I'm going to add more white and something to make it appear less, I don't know, less like a candy color, right? And what would I do? Anybody have a guess on that? I want my color to be muted, right? I want it to still say something greenish, but not be as saturated, not as vibrant. So what should I do? That's what I should do. I should get some red and put it in it, because that will kind of neutralize, literally, right? Neutrals and neutral colors and neutralized objects are not as hot. They're not like, that's what you do with acid, right? You neutralize it. Whoa, didn't that turn pink? Well, a little pinker than I wanted it, but that's all right. So that's greenish and kind of weird in between color, neither green nor yellow. It's perfect. It's just perfect. Okay. And I am going to just put it on here in a much more painterly slapdash style, because last time I was going so carefully to fill in spaces, right? And that I don't want to do it the same. So I'm just going to kind of go. Just go. All right. Probably I will do a couple of strokes here more, and then you'll just have to kind of know what the rest of it went like, because I think maybe watching someone paint could be almost as boring as watching paint dry, right? Now I want to maintain, that's something I want to keep, is this idea that the bottom is spaced tighter than the top areas, right? And that's true of all of the various Albers possibilities. They all are kind of have more space at the top. And I actually want one kind of like that, I think. Yeah. So that one has sort of a narrow, oh, wrong color. That's going to be a problem. Now that might have stopped me in the other one. I might have had to start over or something, but not on this one. Let's see how wide that got. I want it not quite that wide, but that's all right. Pretend I'm going slower than this. Just pretend this is not taking forever. Okay, this is my top. I do want this wider here. What am I thinking? Ay, ay, ay. There. Done. Okay, that's my first color. I do not like right down here where these corners are a little sloppy. They look a little bit, I don't know, not crisp enough, so I'm going to do that over a little bit, and then I'm leaving it alone. Okay. Yep, that's it. Outside ring is done. Now, what about the next one? This one, I need it to be a little wider. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to need this brush to be cleaner or use a different brush, doesn't matter which. What about the color? Kind of want more green. And I'm using the tube of green this time. Change because we've not really used that, right? Again, that's pretty minty. That's not going to be what I want. Let's add all this old yellow, this lovely old yellow, and see what we get. Now, you saw what I just did there, right? I just went, oh yeah, let's try this. Let's see what that looks like. You may think, well, that's kind of a waste of paint. What if you don't get something you like? Well, unfortunately, that's kind of the best way to mix paint, is to just sort of keep on adding things until you get, oh yeah, I love that, what you like. And what I would say about that is it's not really a waste, you're not going to just, you might not have used that yellow up on something else. So don't think of it as a waste so much. I'm taking now, do you see what I'm doing? It's a little bit I want it to look a little more earthy. So I'm taking a little bit of that pinky purple red that was stuck over there and putting it into it. I am inspired in my own work by what I see in the natural world around me. And a lot of those colors are extremely subtle, right? They are not bright candy colors. They're like strange gray, earthy colors and greens. And so I'm real interested in colors that are kind of neutral or toned down like that. All right, what am I doing? I'm making a sort of a wide one. So it's going to be one brush length down here. Look at that. I don't know if you can see it. I didn't get that as tightly in there as I maybe wanted to. One brush length down on the bottom and maybe 1.5 here and kind of 1.5 or 3 there. Like, let's just pick that out right now, that distance, right? Why not? Yeah, all right, that's good. Thinking, well, maybe it's not good. How do you know if it's good? We don't know yet, but we're not going to ask that yet. I think it looks all right, so I'm going to go forward. And did I say one pass on the side, or did I say a little wider? Let's see what it looks like. One pass. We can decide. Look at that. That's going to need a little tightening up. I want it looser than the other one, but I also want it to still essentially, refer to the Albers works. Like if I started to make these, like each edge intentionally curvy, it could be quite interesting. And if you've decided to do that, by gosh, keep going. But for me, it's not going to refer enough to the original kind of inspiration. So I know I'm going to want it a little bit less warbly than that. Warbly, that's I think a music term that I'm misapplying here, a sound term that I'm applying to visual object. Now see, that's not square, and I don't want that. So I'm going to have to make this much wider. But I want it to be evenly wide, so I better go over here and do 1 or 2 strokes there. Is that square yet? No. Probably going to go right past it, huh? Not yet. Not yet. It's kind of funny to try to get it square but not know what size to make it. I think it's wider over there, don't you? Let's try getting it a little narrower there. I mean, I'm making the center white piece narrow. I'm actually making this wider. That wasn't very well explained. Whoa, look at that. It's like a totally lumpy hillside. Okay. You will probably be better at this because you've been practicing all those lines in your sketchbook. You're going to not have such a wobbly hand as I am. Does that look high to you? Looks a little high to me. All right. I'm going to put a little bit more here, and then I'm calling it good because I don't want this to be a 1-hour video for you. All right, that's it. Got it? When I look at my computer, I see that there's much bigger difference on the computer monitor than there is in my room. That doesn't look like such a difference in color in the daylight that I'm looking at it in. That's funny. Okay, that's great. Now, what's the center one going to be? I don't know. I really didn't plan it, so what is it going to be? I don't know. I don't know. I don't want it pink. I think I'm going to go with yellow. I think I'm going to make it a yellow that has maybe a little green, but is also kind of a more saturated color, a more bright color. And I think I'm going to have to use a little bit of that. Do I like that? Actually, I really do like that. But I'm going to put a little yellow ochre in it anyway because it's just a little acidy looking to me. You are going to find, maybe in this course, maybe you've already learned it, that you like certain colors or you like them to be bold and bright. And I'm going to be going, ooh, too bright for me. That's correct. We should not want the same thing from color. We should want different things from it. You and I and you and I and the next person should all have particular things we're looking for in the color. And you may not know what they are yet, but you will know by the end, right? Every time you get the paint out, you're going, oh yeah, I don't really like that color, but I do like this one. And that's how it should be. You should be finding out what you think about color, and it should be sort of uniquely what you think, not what everybody thinks, right? So this is it. This is the last section, and I am trying to go as fast as I can, which is not terribly fast. And then I'm going to end this part 3, and then you will make 2 of them on your own. I look forward to seeing them. I think they're going to be great. Look at that one corner. It's just not moving very well there. You see how I'm turning the paper around? That's so, like, it's all wet, right? So I can't really put my hand down in it. I can't rest my arm to steady it. I have to have, I have my elbow on the table, and that's a big thing for keeping steady, right? Is to have that, to have something, what's the word I'm looking for here? Kind of, stabilized, I guess, is sort of the word. It's not exactly what I meant, but you'll see people painting in the movies. You don't really see it so much in real life, but they have a kind of a special stick, which has a name, which I forget right now, but they hold it out like this, and then they rest there. It has a leather sort of ball tied to the end here, and they can put that on their painting, or they can put it on their easel, and then they have a kind of a brace, and then they put their other hand, which holds the brush, on that stick, and then they can be more, they'll have a more steady brush hand because they're building this kind of tripod event, to hold it up. Does that make sense? Not explaining it very well. Anyway, I'm sure you've seen what I'm talking about. Okay, that is it. I'm calling that one done. All right, that's all.